Let's preview the action for Boxing Day, Thursday, December the 26th. There are 9 games on, streaming targets, all of that garbage, nonsense, whatever. Michael Bolton.
Thanks, Josh. It's Michael Bolton here, and it's time for another episode of the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast. Let's get to it.
Let's get to it, indeed.
You are Locked On Fantasy, your daily NBA fantasy podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Locked On Fantasy Basketball Podcast, brought to you by Basketball Monster. My name is Josh Lloyd, and we listen and we don't judge. I'm also the lead fantasy analyst at basketballmonster.com, and you can find me on Blue Sky at joshlloyd.bsky.social, on Twitter at redrock_bball, on TikTok at redrock_bball, and on Instagram at Locked On Fantasy Basketball. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNBA and get $20 off your first purchase. Also, check out LockedOnDaily.com, and over there, you can find the best newsletter for your favorite NBA team. Also, the Double Bang story. That's what we're doing. It's one of the better stories of all time. I just tell everyone, hey, I've been double banging Josh from Australia. And I'm sure everyone will understand and be right on board with that as well. Let's talk about Thursday. There are 9 games on, so I would say it is a streamable day for nearly every single league, unless you're running with a equal bench and starters sort of scenario, which again is not the majority of leagues. So I think we've got a lot of opportunities here to try and get some stuff cracking. And actually, over the next period of time, there's a lot of days where it's going to be streamable. So we've got to start to use our stream brain. We've got to start to pay more attention to getting games in chunks and all that sort of stuff, versus like we're picking 2 days a week to add players on. It's getting a little bit more, a bit of a different strategy period of the season. The first game, absolute banger, this one here, the Hornets and the Wizards is the first come up. And I say that, obviously marginally sarcastically, but you're going to have interesting stuff for fantasy in every game. And that's one of the joys, I guess, of fantasy basketball, is the fact that it makes you pay attention to under-covered teams which may not be considered good or mediocre or mid or bad. They might be worse than that. They might be the Wizards. But it gives you an opportunity to see all these players and see guys coming up in different roles and all that sort of stuff. But you don't need me to tell you that. HornetsWizards is the first game up. Both these teams are Thursday, Saturday this week. And then Charlotte plays 3 the week after. Washington plays 4. Washington plays 4 in week 11. I'm doing this one a little bit early given the Christmas slate. So just be aware that some of the injury reports won't be fully up to date. I'll do my best to tell you what I know at this stage and make some assumptions. Trey Mann's going to be out. I think that Brandon Miller with his ankle problem will probably be questionable, and I think he will return, but I don't know. Marvin Bagley, we haven't an update from the Wizards. He suffered what looked to be a torn ACL. I don't know whether that is the case, but that is what it appeared to be. So, honestly, he's not playing. There's no way he's playing in this game, so that's cool. He's out. I don't know that Kyle Kuzma and whatever is going on with his rib is available. Maybe he should just get it removed. Maybe he should hit up Marilyn Manson, ask the question, or Prince, or whatever person that was in your era that allegedly had their rib removed. I don't know what's going on. I don't know that he plays. I don't know when he plays. I've got no idea. But I'll put him as doubtful for now. Bub Carrington left the last game for the Wizards and didn't return. No updates so far on him. I think he's probably likely to play. And the same with Bilal Coulibaly and Alex Sarr. Both of those guys missed the last game. And I think you'll have Bub, Bilal, and Sarr all available in this one. Although, these two teams are terrible. Are they going to try and out-tank each other? I don't know. I don't think so, but we'll see. But I think that Bilal and Sarr will return, and I think Bub will probably play, which will limit the value of some guys. On the Hornets and the Wizards, what are we watching? The Hornets side, it's Miles Bridges, who finally shook off some of the rest in the last game. It's more about, to me, where he fits usage-wise. Is this because Brandon Miller was out? What else is he doing apart from scoring? Because it's been very disappointing this season. And on the Wizards side, Jonas Valanciunas put up big numbers last game. But when Sarr plays, and I believe that'll be in this game, what do we do? Is Valanciunas still just a 16-minute-a-night player? Because that is 100% what it feels like. And that is not good enough to be a 12-team league guy. In terms of streams, Cody Martin is probably the Hornets guy. Obviously, if Mark Williams is available, he's the guy that you add and you just hold on to him. But Martin gets a boost if Brandon Miller is out. On the Wizards side, it will be Justin Champagnie. But his value is significantly lower if Bilal and Sarr play as I expect them to play. You could also throw Brogdon in there as streamable. In fact, it depends if Brogdon's available. Brogdon is a guy I think we roster in leagues at this point. Champagnie to me is very borderline given the fact that it does require a few things to go right for him to have value. The second game of the day, We're talking about the Heat and the Orlando Magic. Miami is a Thursday, Saturday, Sunday team. Orlando's a Thursday, Friday, Sunday team. And both of them play 3 games in Week 11. We know that Drew Smith now is out for the season. It was a torn Achilles. That stinks for a bloke coming back off a torn ACL. That's the Klay Thompson double. That's bad news. He was starting games and playing 30 minutes a night. That is obviously meaning he is done for the season, very clearly. Who steps into that role? Well, it's just going to be a mixture of guys like Terry Rozier and Duncan Robinson and Jaime Jaquez Jr. You'll get random Pele Larson games. They converted Kashad Johnson into a full-time contract. Not that he's played much, but he's an interesting sort of a guy as well. Josh Richardson's out, and of course, Jim Butler is doubtful. We heard the report from Shams Charania today that Butler would like to be traded to a contender. Would he now? That's great. Maybe if you were a better player, Jimmy, you'd have more options like that. This man has the best PR in all of sports history. Okay, so he was in Chicago and got traded to Minnesota and then asked out of Minnesota and created a stink there and went to Philadelphia, and then there was clearly tensions there. They didn't want to bring him back, and he created this issue. Then he's going to Miami and making up nonsense of, like, I'm the hardest worker in the league, so I get up at 3 a.m., never mind the fact that I go to bed at 6 p.m. and I'll charge $1 million for a coffee, and I'm the best playoff performer ever, even though the playoff stats aren't as good as you think they are. And then there's Heat for life and Heat culture, and now he wants out. It's all bullshit with this guy all the time. It's all the time. And he's 34 and he's not as good anymore. Like it is, and now what he's sick. General Soreness, the toughest man in the world. Get out of here. So Butler's not going to play due to his sore tummy. Maybe he's got a bit of runny poos. I'm not really sure. But he's not going to play, so that's sick. Terry Rozier is questionable, while for the Magic, Wagner Mo, and Paolo Banchero are all out, or Gaz Harris. We might be getting the triumphant return of the prodigal son, Gary Harris. He's questionable with his hamstring. On the Heat, what are we watching for? Well, they went back to starting Hayward Highsmith last game, but it was Little Chungus Nikola Jovic who played 30 minutes. So if you want me to sit here and tell you that I understand what the Heat are going to do game by game, I don't. I have no idea. Jovic might play 0 minutes, or 15 minutes, or 20 minutes, or 30 minutes. In fact, it's probably going to be closer to 30. Does he start? Maybe. The reason that Spoelstra is moving all these pieces around is because the roster is bad. And it has been bad for like 2.5 years. And they'll continue to just move guys around. Jovic, we watch it. I don't think we get anything excited about it, though. On the Magic side of things, we only got limited minutes from Goga Badadze in the last game. And we want to see what happens because they moved Wendell Carter to the bench. And they didn't play those guys together at all. Was that a one-game thing? Is that what we're doing now? We'll see. But that was what happened. In terms of stream guys, Dunkie Robinson's probably the Miami streamer here. Although there's a million other options there. Like it could be Jaquez, who's been dreadful this season, but he will probably start. The deeper leagues will look at Pele Larson. Rozier will get a little bit of a bump there as well, but he's probably rostered in a lot of leagues. And then Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is probably the Magic stream guy, although you could throw Tristan De Silva into that mix. You could throw Yas Queen into there as well. Trevelyan, who started in the last one, maybe starts here. I doubt the defensive stat keeps up, but he was pretty good, and he's an option for us as well in that game. The third game of the day, we're going to Indiana, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Snubbed off of Christmas. They're going to take on the Indiana Pacers. They're 5.5-point favorites, the Thunder. Both teams play 3 more games this week. The Thunder are Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and then 4 in Week 11. And the Pacers are Thursday, Friday, Sunday into 3 in Week 11. Chet is out. Now, last game, Alex Caruso did leave after diving for a loose ball, I believe it was. But he did come back and sit on the bench, but never re-entered the game. We haven't got an update on them to see whether he's actually available to play or not. It would be great to be able to get that update. Don't have any update on that at this point. But we do have the full Pacers injury report. Aaron Nesmith remains out. But interestingly, Miles Turner popped up as questionable. Now, if Turner is out, and I say this, I don't say this lightly at all. If Turner is out, Thomas Bryant, who is a terrible NBA player, will become streamable because he will probably play 22 minutes. Obi Toppin will also become a valuable player. I don't think there's anything significant here with Turner, but it's an oblique issue. I don't think it's a Paulo Franz oblique issue, but it's an oblique issue. And their centers are Thomas Bryant and Obi Toppin. So they both would become 12-team usable players. I'd go with Toppin because he's just a little bit more proven and they lean more into his minutes, but Bryant is the better permanent fantasy producer. In terms of what we're watching for, well, the Bronco, I detailed this on Buy Low, Sell High yesterday, that Jalen Williams is struggling at the moment. Shots aren't going in, steal and block rates have disappeared I expect that they're going to come back, but of course, we pay attention to it. And then on the Pacers side, I don't think that we need to be rostering Benedict Mathurin. The minutes are still okay, but as players come back, he's just not doing enough. And the volume is down, and he doesn't do enough in the other buffering type categories to be able to keep that value up. In terms of stream guys, Lou Dort is always going to be on this list for the Thunder. You could throw the Hong Kong mattress Case and Wallace into that mix as well. Last game, it was AJ Mitchell. Not sure it'll be him again, but there's other options there too. And then Andy Nembhard for the Pacers. You could consider him as a hold guy, especially with the advantageous schedule that the Pacers have. But to me, his upside is relatively low. We've got more games to cover off, and we will. But today's episode is brought to you by the Game Time app. Togetherness. Does that involve being at a game? Of course it does, because that is a great way of bringing family and friends close together. And getting tickets to those games, well, it doesn't have to be a chore anymore, because Game Time has got you sorted. Game Time Picks helps you find the best value tickets for the events that you want to go and see. It cuts out the fluff and shows you only the good value tickets on the Game Time app. So many great deals, whether it's sporting events or concerts, theatre, music, comedy, whatever it is, Game Time is going to have those events in your local area. Get a panoramic view from your seat as well on the app, so when you go to buy those tickets, you can see exactly what you're going to be seeing when the event is off and running. You got the Game Time ticket coverage as well, the purchase covered by the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industries. So, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create the account and redeem the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game time. Today's episode is also brought to you by Rocket Money. The way of the world with things is subscriptions. You sign up for subscriptions all the time, but sometimes you might leave them running longer than you need to. Sometimes you might have multiple subscriptions to the same service. And keeping a track of that, well, it's a way that just bleeds money. Well, Rocket Money is here to help you fix that. It helps track your subscriptions. It helps show you the ones that you're paying for, shows you the ones that maybe you're paying for twice, and gives you the ability to get in there and just get rid of the things that you don't want to be paying for. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions. It monitors your spending, and it helps you lower your bills so that you can achieve your financial goals. Rocket Money has over 5 million users, and they have saved a total of $500 million in cancelled subscriptions and saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. The subscription tracker is the thing that you really want to look at there, because again, that's just one of the easy ways to cut down some of your monthly spending. So go ahead and cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/LockedOnNBA. /LockedOn today. That is rocketmoney.com/LockedOn. rocketmoney.com/LockedOn. Let us move on to the next game. We're talking after the ThunderPacers, which is the third game of the day. We're looking at the Chicago Bulls taking on the Atlanta Hawks. We're in Atlanta for this one. The Hawks are 6-point favorites. The schedule, the Bulls are a Thursday-Saturday team, and they play 3 the week after, while the Hawks are Thursday, Saturday, Sunday into 3 as well. I fully expect that Josh Giddey and Lonzo Ball will play. Giddey's missed 3 in a row with the ankle injury. He may not, but I'm putting him as probable at this stage. Lonzo, I don't think there's any real risk of him not being available here or playing. Onyeka Okongwu, I'm expecting to be out. And then the other one is Bogdan Bogdanovic, who sat out the game on Monday. I think that was just hey, let's get a couple of extra days rest in, and he'll be available. And I wouldn't be shocked if Trae Young appears on the injury report with foot, heel, Achilles, whatever they want. There's something wrong with his feet. He might actually appear as questionable, and I think he plays. But we'll see. For the Bulls, what do I want to watch? Well, it is Lonzo Ball, because we saw him push to 23 minutes and went, all right, that's probably enough to have a look at. And now he's gone back to like 18, 16, 15 minutes, and now that's not enough. So until we get consistent 22-plus minutes from Lonzo, he is a streamer, and that's it. For the Hawks, well, I put him on the droppable list on the waiver wire show today, but Bogdan Bogdanovic is not doing enough. I expect him to play, but it's about watching what his usage is, what are his minutes. Is he 26 minutes? Because that's not enough. Is he 28 to 29? That probably is. And we'll see where they decide to use him. In terms of streams, Patty Williams is never someone I want to feel good about, but he is a streamable player for the Chicago Bulls who can hit some threes, get some steals, block some shots. And then, of course, Larry Nance at the moment, we just roster him. Until Okongwu comes back, you do that. Now, I would think there's a real chance of a stinker here from Nance, because we've seen production dip a little bit over the last 3 games, but he's still good enough, and we use him for now, and we adjust that stuff later on when we need to. The Nets and the Bucks. This one has a lengthy injury report, although I'm not sure how many of those actually matter. In terms of schedule, it's a Thursday, Friday, Sunday for the Nets into 3 games week 11, whereas Milwaukee is Thursday, Saturday into 3 games as well. Bojan Bogdanovic is going to be out. I'm expecting that Cam Thomas and Zaire Williams are out, and Trenton Watford's going to be out. I actually don't think that Dorian Finney-Smith is going to play, and that's largely just because it's a back-to-back. I think he might be available for one of those two, but I'll just rule him out for Thursday. Gives you the extra day of recovery, and then he plays on Friday. That's my guess on that. For the Bucks, both Big Boom AJ Johnson and Chris Livingston are questionable because they didn't play last game, but they'll honestly play 0 minutes anyway, so it does not matter. The 2 big ones are going to be Damian Lillard, who's missed 3 games in a row, 2 with a calf, 1 with an illness, and Yanni as well, who I'm just going to put them both as probable. I'm very, very certain they sat out on Monday. As often happens before there's a break in the schedule, anyone's got anything they need to take care of, they will often just sit those players. I expect both of those guys to be ready to go, which means your Bobby Portis and Ryan Rollins and Gary Trent, or whoever it is, Taurean Prince, those streams probably don't do anything. But I don't have the official updates on those guys at this point. What are we watching for on the Nets? Well, Noah Clowney has played like big minutes 3 in a row. Now, there are reasons there. Clarkson ejection, Finney-Smith absence. So if Finney-Smith is out again, we're assuming we get more out of Claxton, out of Clowney, but is that what's going to just happen now from now on? I hope so. But I also don't know because Bogdanovic, Williams, Watford, Finney-Smith, they all theoretically can play similar positions. So how they view Clowney is very important. And for the Bucks, Bob Portis went absolutely crazy the last couple of games with no Giannis, but that's the thing, isn't it? It's no Giannis. So let's see where Portis settles when Giannis plays here. In terms of streams, Ben Simmons should just be rostered everywhere, but he's like 33% rostered, so yeah, do it. And then Andre Jackson's one that's probably the least inspiring stream guy that's out there. You could look at Prince if you wanted, but I wouldn't love that. Gary Trent, Big Boom AJ Green. There's 2 big booms on this team, 2 big AJs. Maybe we need better names for them. But that's okay. They can share the same name until AJ Johnson plays a single second. The Houston Rockets and the New Orleans Pelicans. This is a game where the Rockets cooked them not long ago. They won by about 30 points, I think. The Rockets, Thursday, Friday, Sunday, into 3 games week 11. The Pelicans, this will be their first game for the week, and then they play Thursday, Friday. That's a back-to-back, and then they're done. Very weird schedule. Into 4 games the week after. Tari Eason, we haven't had an update on him. I would be very, very cautious. Yeah, I would think that Tari doesn't play here, and I'm very worried about what's happening with his leg. But I don't know that yet. Dylan Brooks sat the game on Monday. Ankle soreness on a back-to-back. Again, get the extra day in. I am certain that Dylan Brooks is going to play here. For the Pelicans, they have updated their injury report. No Zion, no Ingram, no Alvarado, no Makovic. And Trey Murphy, who sprained his ankle in their last game, he is officially questionable for this one. So if he is out, then it does open up stuff for guys like Jordan Hawkins, but otherwise, maybe not as much. On the Rocket side of things, Amen Thompson started last game for Dylan Brooks and looked great. But as we know, in the games where he doesn't start, he's like a 23 to 25 minute player, and that makes him borderline. I'm still holding, absolutely still holding, but we'll watch how they use him if there's any change to it. For the Pelicans, Yves Missi was awesome in the last one. Does that happen again, or do we go back to a 9-10 game with 1 block, which is fine without being exciting? In terms of streams, Dylan Brooks is always just going to be that guy. And then it is probably Jordan Hawkins for the Pelicans. He requires a lot of minutes and a lot of shots and a lot of efficiency to be useful, and he might get it. It's more viable to stream Hawkins if Murphy is out, but at this point, we don't know whether Murphy's out, nor do we expect it. The next game is the Toronto Raptors going to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. Toronto is Thursday, Sunday into 3 games the week after. Memphis is Thursday, Friday, Sunday into 3 games week 11. Emmanuel Quickley's out. I don't think Bruce Brown's going to play. In fact, I don't think Bruce Brown's going to play a single game for the Raptors. Honestly, that's the feeling I'm getting. This feels too much like garbage of just holding out and holding out. I don't think he's actually hurt, is what I'm going to say. He had knee surgery, I know that, and they kept him out, but I'm pretty sure they're just sort of working him back slowly and trying to trade. This is one where honestly, that's what I believe. Jamal Shead missed the last game, which is frustrating because he had sort of worked his way ahead of Davion Mitchell, so we'll see what happens there. And I believe they've actually given us their injury report, I believe. Yeah, so Shead is officially questionable, and Poeltl is officially out. So there you go. So Jakob Poeltl is out. For the Grizzlies, I don't think they've given us an injury report. No, they haven't. Vince Williams and GG Jackson are going to be out, and we just don't know the status of Jay Huff or Marcus Smart. Huff we don't really care about in 10 or 12 team leagues. We just got the official Hawks report as well. There you go. Trae Young is questionable, got out. Okongwu is out, and Bogdanovic is questionable. Okay. Brandon Miller also officially questionable for the Hornets, so we got that report there too. That's good to know. So, yeah, Marcus Smart, questionable. I think the Grizzlies are a 12-point favorite in this one. What I want to watch on the Raptors is Jacoby Walter. It's not necessarily whether I think Jacoby Walter is good enough to roster. I don't. It's about how they use him, because they started in the second half last game without Mobo, and who even was their center? Scotty Barnes, who was also their point guard. They just went with no point guards and no centers. So we'll see what they do with Walter here, who, again, much like Jordan Hawkins in the previous game, needs just a lot of shots and a lot of minutes to really make it worthwhile. And for the Grizzlies, if Marcus Smart is out, I think Jake LaRavia has got a little bit of streaming ability. We've seen his ability to get assists, and he's a solid rebounder, the occasional defensive stat. He's got at least some stream value there. Kelly Olynyk maybe is the stream guy in the Raptors, but we've seen it elevate in one game, but not every game. This might be a chance for more of that. I look at him. I look at Chris Boucher as another option there too. And then Brandon Clark is probably worth a stream for the Grizzlies, but that's, again, probably moving more into the deeper league zone. Got a couple more games to get to, which we will. And today's episode, though, is brought to you by Robinhood. With Robinhood Gold, you do not need a silver spoon to eat up the financial favors of the 1%. Robinhood Gold allows others to get the rates and the perks that are usually reserved for high society. Now, the resourceful individual with Robinhood Gold can earn the very liberal rate of 4.25% APY on uninvested cash and be rewarded with a handsome 3% retirement boost on IRA account contributions. Robinhood Gold provides the privileges of a high net worth for any net worth. The generous benefits are now available for only $5 a month. The new gold standard is here with Robinhood Gold. Sign up at robinhood.com/gold. Terms apply for product-specific disclosures. Visit robinhood.com/gold. Investing involves risk. Rate may change. Gold membership is offered by Robinhood Gold LLC. All right, let's get through these final couple of games. This one, man, we've got Charlotte and Washington to begin the day, and to end the day, we've got Jazz Blazers. And these two teams do not care about tanking. They do not care about the optics of tanking. They're going to be very interesting to see what they do. The Blazers are 3.5-point favorites here. Both teams are Thursday, Saturday teams. Utah plays 4 in Week 11. Portland plays 3. Injury-wise, Keontae George missed the last game. I'll preemptively put him as questionable, although I don't know. And then John Collins sort of came out of nowhere with a doubtful tag last game. I would expect, given that they probably want to lose to Portland, and maybe John Collins is better than Micah Potter, maybe, that I don't think Collins plays here. I'm going to put him closer to doubtful than questionable. On the Blazers, we know that Thybulle's going to be out. And then last game, Rob Williams missed with an ankle injury, but okay, I don't know whether he's going to play, but all I know is that while 3 centers are there, we don't care about Rob Williams for 12-team leagues at all, while the 3 centers are all available. On the Jazz side of things, Colin Sexton's put together 3 really big ones in a row. I believe he's a strong sell high because there's been very clear reasons as to why that has happened. But we'll see, because Keontae might be out again. But if he plays, I really want to see what they do with Sexton and how they use him in a team that is fully functional, which they're not functional, but at least fully healthy. And then on the Blazers, it's about Denny Avdia. 22 minutes, not enough. He needs 28 for me to be a rock-solid 12-team league player, and he's not getting it. Now, is he a better player than Jeremy Grant? As much as I don't think Denny's that good, yeah, he's better than Jeremy Grant. But they're not playing him more than Jeremy Grant most days. So watching what Avdia's role is key. I think the man on the street, JORDANCLARKSON, Jordan Clarkson, is probably the best streamer here for the Jazz, although Micah Potter would be interesting enough if Collins is out. And Shaedon Sharpe's down to 36% rostered on Yahoo. Fine, because he's like an empty scoring player who doesn't do much else. That's a low number, and that makes him streamable. The minutes are fine. We know he's pretty iffy in terms of consistency, but he is available. So, yeah, just take a look at that and consider whether you want to stream him in. The final game of the day, we're talking Pistons and the Kings. I could say this almost every game, man. The Kings really need to win this one because they keep getting beaten and beaten badly. The Kings are 5.5-point favorites here. Both teams are Thursday, Saturday teams. Detroit is a 3-game week in Week 11. The Kings are 4 games. The only injuries we know at the moment is Isaiah Stewart, who I don't expect to play with his knee issue, so I'm labeling him doubtful at this point. We actually just got an update on the Nets with Ben Simmons questionable because it is a back-to-back, and Dorian Finney-Smith questionable. So that's going to be really... If Simmons is out, what do they do there? Keon Johnson, Shake Milton will become streamable, so just watch that one as well. But that injury report just dropped. Yeah, Isaiah Stewart I don't think plays, so that helps Paul Reed there, and then Devin Carter will be out for the Kings. I want to see what's going on with the thick hogsman Tobias Harris because he's been bad. If you're in an 8-team league, drop him. If you're in a 10, I think he's probably a hold because it doesn't appear that he's minutes are going anywhere, but like he's just not taking shots. And we need to watch that. For the Kings, I put him on the buy low show, DeMar DeRozan. It's been a putrid run of things. Not taking shots, not getting assists. The shots aren't going in. Everything is bad. I do believe that he is better than this, but I'm starting to get a little worried about where he sort of fits in the hierarchy. In terms of stream guys, on Detroit, it is, of course, Leaky Beasley. Continues to be awesome, continues to take a lot of shots, and he's probably the reason, honestly, why Tobias Harris is not living up to my expectations. I thought that Harris would be the number 2 offensive guy, but he's not. It's Beasley. He's getting 1 million shots, even though he's coming off the bench, and then Ivy's the other one too. But when Beasley plays, like he gets prioritized over Harris. And then on the Kings side of things, it probably is Fanapants Kevin Huerter. Let's take a look at some schedule plays across the day. We can now actually finally, for the first time in a while, talk about some back-to-backs, because there are teams playing the back-to-backs like we just talked about. 6 of them actually play Thursday, Friday with a combination. Brooklyn, Houston, Indiana, Memphis, New Orleans, and Orlando. Watch the back-to-back of Ben Simmons, obviously going to sit one of those games. Watch in Indiana with Miles Turner and the oblique. The return of Andrew Nembhard as well. Watch the maybe absence there in Memphis. You know, they're being very cautious with Ja Morant, so some stuff could go on there. But these guys I like as interesting back-to-back streamers. We go Dylan Brooks, Andy Nembhard, Timothy John McConnell, Wendell Carter Jr., Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and Noah Clowney, who is going to have options here across both of those games, I would guess. The chunky part of the schedule, that is Thursday through Monday, who do we look at? Now we can get chunky. Look at the next 5 days of games. All of these days are streamable, and all of these players that I'm listing here play 3 games in that 5-day period. So these are all under 40% rostered on Yahoo. Shaedon Sharpe, Jordan Clarkson, Toumani Camara, Dylan Brooks, Andrew Nembhard, and Lou Dort. Now, you're going to get some stinkers from some of these guys, but 3 games in 5 nights makes it viable. So if you are going to look at those guys as streamers, like think of it as more of a 3-game package investment, because hopefully you get 2 good ones at least out of that time frame, and maximizing those games played, I think, is pretty useful there. In terms of the other part of the schedule we look at is the 5s and 2s. Over the next 7 days, there is one team that plays only 2 games. That's Thursday through to Wednesday, and that is the Lakers. So if you're considering a Max Christie, or for some God knows what reason you're considering holding on to Rui Hachimura, or number 17 pick in the draft legend Dalton Connect, don't. But also don't do it because they only played 2 games in the next 7 days, which makes it pretty much not worth it. If we look at the stream of the day, that's what we'll do. Again, remembering the different cutoffs that we use for all of this, just always having a look at who is available in your league. But I think the number one guy I'm looking at here is Toumani Camara, who fits the criteria that I'm using. Yeah, he can be bad. We know this. But there is an ability and a relative safety in the floor in terms of role and minutes for him to be used there. For 12-team category, I've got Paul Reed. Now, there are going to be other players who are available in your league who are better than Paul Reed. I understand that. But in terms of when I look at these roster cutoffs, he's the first name that comes off that is under 45% on our Basketball Monster metric. But when I put up the list of 10-teamers, you might find 3 other guys there who are available in your league who are better than Reed. And Reed is not going to be a scoring guy, but he might be 4 assists, 2 steals, 2 blocks in 17 minutes. But he could also play 5 minutes. He probably won't, but he could play 13. He's risky, but he can generate some defensive numbers for you. 14-teamers, we're looking at Patty Williams. 16-teamer, Duncan Robinson. And then Yahoo and ESPN points, Shaedon Sharpe is someone I'd be looking at pretty closely. For 10-team streamers, we've got Toumani Camara, Larry Nance, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Andrew Nembhard, Justin Champagny, and Paul Reed. For 12-teamers, we go to Patrick Williams, Duncan Robinson, Noah Clowney. Clowney's one probably drops if Finney-Smith does play. Lonzo Ball, Kevin Huerter, the Hong Kong Mattress, Cason Wallace. For deeper leagues, Keon Johnson, who would bump up along with Shake Milton if Ben Simmons is out. Cody Martin, Trevelyan Queen, Jonathan Isaac, Keon Alice, and Brandon Clark. For points leagues, these are all 40% plus or 40% below rostered. Shaedon Sharpe, Ben Simmons, Jordan Clarkson, Malcolm Brogdon, Andrew Nembhard, and Larry Nance. And then ESPN, same name, different order. Shaedon Sharpe, Ben Simmons, Larry Nance, Jordan Clarkson, Andrew Nembhard, and Malcolm Brogdon. And that, guys, is the end of the daily look ahead for Thursday with 9 games on. I'll be back to recap all of the Christmas action later on today. So if you don't want to miss out, you subscribe and you ring the notification bell. And also remember, have a great day. Have a great Christmas. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others. Pump others up. Pump yourself up. You can do that silently. Probably don't need to shout it from the rooftops. I'm better than everyone. You don't do that. It's just about recognizing that you did something good. And there's always going to be a good thing, whether it's big or small. And if we focus on that, we build. Guys, we are done here. Thank you so much for listening, everyone. See ya.